Yes, continue.
While the kids are playing police and thief on the streets, adults are also trying to do the same. In Taraba State, an ex-policeman was caught parading or moving drugs with a hilux by active policemen, and also in Zamfara State, policemen's phones were seized by unknown gunmen. These are police officers, the security forces, and not just your everyday civilians. To tell you how grave these stories are, join us today on the morning break as we give you details of these stories. I am Abbas Muhammad.
I am Mohammed Kabir.
And I'm Barry to the world.
Before we go to our top stories, we will start with stories around the nation, starting with Iyaloja General of the nation, also known as the first daughter of the nation. The Oba of Benin came out to disclaim her move on crowning an Iyaloja in Benin City, in Edo Benin City, talking about this is not a custom or accustomed to their own traditions. She is known as Iyaloja General by title, and she's an Iyaloja in Lagos State, but then this is not a norm, if I'm not mistaken, in other states, because we cannot be having Iyaloja in Benin, where it's not their culture. You cannot be having an Iyaloja in Sokoto, where it's not their culture. You know, even the name itself, Iyaloja, is Yoruba. Even though Benin and the Yoruba culture has, you know, some kind of similarities, but it is not the same. What do you think about this story, KB?
You see, coming around the news, it was actually very surprising seeing how somebody, I said, I even asked myself, are we going to see people crowning themselves, giving themselves titles now? Because there was nothing like Iyaloja of Nigeria before her and her family's existence. So this is a title that we've seen only two holders. And it's not even two holders, only one, her herself. Because they said she actually inherited the Iyaloja title from her grandmother, which her grandmother was Iyaloja of Lagos, not Iyaloja of Benin, not Iyaloja of Sokoto. So to see herself taking this position, it's not something surprising.
Self-imposed title.
Self-imposed title, but for her to try to impose it on other people, other nations, other tribes, it's actually very unacceptable. For her to even go to another man's land, it's disrespectful for you to come and try and crown somebody, a title that has not been there. I think even in Benin, they have such title, because I think the translation of the title is mother of the market, Iyaloja. So in Benin, they have their own. So you don't just come there. What is she trying to do? Is she trying to incite chaos there? Because what would happen to the existing one? Because the Oba, you know, basically the whole title, the one day in Benin reports to the Oba. Then now the Iyaloja, she's expecting the one that she crowned to come and report to her. This is not your town. What do you expect? Are you trying to bring to bring problem in the town or what? So it's quite unacceptable for Laishade to do something like that. So,
and you know, it could be a political move also, because according to the Oba, he states that the Iyaki does not just control the market, or she's not just a representative in the market. She has absolute control. As long as she does what is expected of her in the market, the palace does not even interfere in her role, which shows you how independent that position is for the women. And also not just that, he did mention that the culture in Benin is that the Iyeki or the Iyaloja is being selected by the women of the markets, and then she is brought to the palace for confirmation that, okay, this is who was selected to represent us. But then to have someone alien come into their society, to appoint someone, and then, you know, because what brings the uproar here now is that she didn't just visit the palace to confirm what she just did. No, she said she did it as just a courtesy visit to the Oba, which shows, you know, because Benin has an ancient history of traditions and culture. You know, we've seen a lot of histories and culture coming from Benin City. It's quite unfortunate that she did something like that. Barry, do you have anything to add on this as a lady?
No, it has nothing to do with the gender. It's more like the whole rumors of us hearing the president and his family trying to pocket the entire nation, because this is something that we're seeing. This is strange to them. It's someone coming from the south coming to declare someone as emir in Kano State. Sure. It makes no sense. It really makes no sense. So it's putting it into practical terms like that you will know the amount of violence that you are trying to start and incite. So it is that kind of thing. And this is one point that Nigeria needs to come together more than ever before. This is not the time to incite any form of violence. We've already been facing all forms of insecurity. And let's not just go around starting quarrels or disputes that we do not know how to resolve. and that may escalate into something much bigger. So it's something that needs to be looked into. I mean, that's everybody should know where their powers end. And if she wanted to do the whole Iyaloja general and everything, she should know the limits and boundaries of her power. She can call herself whatever she wants to call herself, right? But she should stay within her zone. I mean, Lagos recognizes it. The other states that recognizes it, fine. But they say this is not their tradition, and I think they should be left to their traditions as well.
Exactly, exactly. You know, we should understand the power. We understand the power the government has. We understand the power of the states and whatnot. But at the same time, we should understand that culture and tradition has lived up to this day because we preserve it in its original form and not trying to edit it for personal gains, political gains, or whatever it is that it is in this situation. Still moving on the first family, because this is what we can call them the first family, because this is involving the president's daughter. Our next story now is about the president. After cancelling the 65th Independence Day celebrations, where we are accustomed to the norm of parades, military parades, you know, at Eagle Square. Around the nation, you know, we have secondary schools coming to display some beautiful moments, some march past and whatnot in Eagle Square. In other states, I believe there are also similar celebrations going on there. Taking it years back, where we've seen a lot of these type of celebrations. Every Independence Day is something that unites us as a nation, something that it's so beautiful to see, especially from the angle of this is not just something one particular sect in the country represent, no. Unlike, you know, Christmas, where we have just the Christians celebrating, or we have Eid, where it's just the Muslims celebrating. The Independence Day is different. The Independence Day shows the unity of Nigeria. It was when Nigeria came as a whole, something that affected us all together, and we made a decision to move on that. But then the president made a very controversial statement whereby people are bringing out outright saying, because the Independence Day celebration was halted, but without an actual reason, it just said it is going to be suspended. Does not signify any insignificance of this special day, but then it is suspended. We still haven't gotten the details of why it was suspended. And then the president went ahead to say, I had a nice breakfast, slept well after cancelling Independence Day. He said this during the unveiling of the renovated Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and Creative Arts on Wednesday in Lagos. And this raises a lot of questions, KB. This raises a lot of questions.
You know, sometimes we look at, from my own perspective, I would like to say that it's the president mocking us, because after this is something that has been there since 1961. It has been happening. 1960 itself, even the day, because this is the whole genesis was the independence, was the day we got independence. But we have never, I don't know, maybe Barry, you have ever heard a time that they said we are not going to hold independence without a reason. So I think this one, and I tell you, the president is coming to tell us he slept very well, showing us that okay, there's nothing. Is he trying to tell us there's nothing we can do? This is a country for us all. And this is the biggest celebration we can have in this country, because the Eid is for, as you said, the Eid is for Muslims alone, the Christmas is for Christians alone, but this is for us all. Even the idol worshippers tradition, this is for us all. Then how will you come and cancel something like this, a big celebration like this? Then you tell us, okay, this is the reason. Maybe I have insecurity threats, that's what but you won't tell us that there's no reason, and you're even coming to our face to tell us you ate breakfast and you slept all. That's to show us that there's nothing we can do, you do what you feel like. So I think the president needs to think again. He should rethink about this thing, because we will not want to see this kind of issue next year, because this is our greatest celebration and we want to celebrate the efforts of our fathers.
Yeah, Barry, would you say this is a confirmation that Nigeria doesn't really have anything to celebrate regarding the independence, because Independence Day is a celebration of how far we've come since, you know, we broke up from the colonial rule and whatnot? Would you say this is just a subtle confirmation that yes, there is nothing for Nigerians to celebrate, that the president is trying to say? Because he could have picked any other day, you know, to have a nice breakfast and sleep well. But why October 1st?
I mean, okay, this particular question, it has several ramifications to it. First of all, October 1st signifies the day Nigerians got independence from her colonial rulers. And if you were not in the colonial regime, I wasn't, but I met people who were there, and you didn't experience the pains and suffering, and you didn't experience how it was before we gained independence, you wouldn't value the day of independence. So canceling such a momentous day just because you want to have breakfast and you want to sleep well is a slight on the face of Nigerians who live in abject poverty. Because he said he went for a breakfast. Certain Nigerians didn't have breakfast that morning due to the level of poverty in the land. Certain Nigerians, they didn't have breakfast because they were being killed. Certain Nigerians didn't have breakfast that morning because one of their loved ones is caught up in the kidnap den. Certain Nigerians didn't have breakfast that morning because they couldn't go to their farm to eat and they were looking for what to eat that morning. So a lot is happening in the nation, and that particular statement alone incites the masses, and it says, as long as I'm cool, as long as I'm alright, I want everybody to hell with you. And that's just basically the picture that was painted. It does not sound like a leader who has the nation at heart. It sounds like a very self-centered leader. And it is not something to be encouraged. I mean, you could have done that. It is something you can tell, okay, maybe your friends, you can tell your colleagues, or you tell your wife, okay, I had a really nice breakfast and everything. You don't come out to tell us Nigerians, certain people who are suffering, people who are impoverished. We've talked about recession. He came out also on that in that same address and told us that the fuel subsidy is finally paying off. Which average Nigerian has told you that? He just came out and just rubbed everything in our faces. And it is something that is very, very insensitive. I don't even know what word to use, but I just felt that was just off. And Nigerian leaders have gotten so insensitive to the point where they feel they can say such kind of statements and it is okay. I mean, someone vetoed that speech that he gave and felt that it was okay to give to the Nigerian populace. It should show you how little they rate an average Nigerian.
Well, we do hope that we do not have a repeat of this next year. And this statement, like I mentioned, really triggered Nigerians a lot because even those who were not in the country that were celebrating independence, I could remember seeing a mockery of Justin Eugene making a video screaming happy independence, and someone tapped him on the back that if the country was really independent, would you be singing this in America? Would you be celebrating from America and not in your country? We do hope we see better changes within the country and our celebration is brought back to us. Moving on, the Lagos National Union of Road Transport Workers, chairman, threatens to punish anyone who refuses to vote APC in 2027. This video surfaced online where they were having a meeting and he made this threat. It was really unruly and brings up a lot of gruesome memories, especially from the 2023 general elections, especially in Lagos State, where we were known to see, or we're accustomed to seeing violence from thugs during the elections, where if you are not voting for APC in particular, because APC is the political party in question, if you are not voting APC, you should stay at home. We see, I think there's a video of MC Oluomo threatening people that you are not forced to come and vote here. Stay at home if you are not voting for APC, that if he should look into the ballot paper and see you vote any other party, harm will come to away. And it begs the question, are we not practicing a secret ballot system? Why is someone who is not an INEC official a renowned political thug, because this is what they know him for, that he mobilizes thugs, saying he's going to vet your political choice, your voting choice, before he lets you go. And this brings out, like I mentioned, this brings out a lot of memories from 2023. We've seen a lot of electoral violence from thugs. And then for someone who is known as the chairman of the NURTW in Lagos State, making this threat openly is really questionable. KB, what do you think about this political
I don't know. At this point, I'll say is the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers. Is it a union or is it a thug association? Because we're in the democratic setting. You are in no position to tell me who I'm going to vote. Why would he even be there to even see what people are going to vote? Sometimes you wonder if we're even under a country, or we are in a country, or we're in a zoo. Because this is a very animalistic behavior. How can you threaten somebody? Somebody making such threats is still working freely. Is this how low we've gone? If we get lower than this, it's even disgraceful at this point for somebody to come. This is a democratic setting. I am entitled to choose who I'm willing to vote for. You are Barry, you are entitled to vote. If Barry votes, she can vote for ZTP. That's her business. If you are doing well, you have no issue. If you know the people like you, then why do you have to bother yourself with even they're using a talk to come and threaten? We saw this thing happen, a lot of election violence. We don't want to see this in 2027. We need a proper review. We need proper security. We need everything should be there, because he's in no position. Somebody making such threats is supposed to even be in jail. You are not here to threaten people. How dare you? Is it by force to vote the APC? If the party is doing well, then why do you even have to bother yourself with threatening voters?
Recently we saw that DSS was taking a citizen to court over certain insightful statements. I don't think it's insightful statements get more insightful than this.
Maybe this is a motivational statement to them. Maybe they see this as a motivational statement.
And all they called him for was questioning. I didn't see that they had arrested him or taken him to court for anything. None. But then you see the way it's going. It's if you are on the side of the ruling party, you can do anything and get away with it. And that has become a trend. I mean, we just talked about the first daughter of the nation trying to do anything and get away with it. And again, this is it. So it's the whole blatant disrespect for our democratic system. It's the blatant disrespect, because in a democratic system, I am free, like you said, I'm free to vote, even if not chimpanzee herself. Now my choice.
It's her choice. True. She has the choice to vote.
Now my choice. It concern you. I'm free to choose whoever I want to put in power. And it's I don't know why Nigeria is getting to, but the trajectory does not look nice at all.
Exactly. And after his question, he had a little statement with the press where he was talking about his statement was misunderstood. But the video is there. I believe he spoke in Yoruba, and there was a subtitle, a translation about what he said. He said what he said was misinterpreted, and that who he was referring to was not the general public, but those under the union. I'm still wondering.
Even under
the union, does that mean if you're under the same union? Exactly.
Honestly.
Exactly.
Does he have any
I don't believe the NURTW was created by a certain political party to operate. No, it was created by the people. The union is there for those who engage in that particular line of work. So then again, the DSS, we wonder, where is the line drawn? Where is the battle drawn? Are you selective of those?
Selective justice.
Exactly. Are you selective of those who you grill and question? And does an affiliation to the ruling party make one free or fair? Does that make one error-free or not? And then moving on, the Nigerian Bar Association slams tinted glass permits as illegal, offers free legal aid. This is coming after the commencement of the stop and search for tinted glass permits for motor vehicle owners. The deadline was shifted previously, but then it was brought to October. I believe from October 2nd, the police started. Even we've seen in Delta State where about 25 vehicles were impounded by the police, talking about they did not have the permits. And even with the controversies going around the whole permit of a thing, the NBA says it is illegal. They found where it is not supported by the law, and they said they are going to be providing free legal aid to anyone who is being harassed or arrested by the police for not having a tinted glass permit. But then the public relations officer of the Nigerian Police Force, CSP Benjamin, who then came out to say no such lawsuit was brought to their attention, therefore it does not stand. But then still, the NBA came out and brought a full, I believe it's about 5 pages of the complete lawsuit, stating that this is the complete lawsuit. So what was the public relations officer then? And then I think, Barry, maybe we'll start with you, talking about what do you think about the police who are supposed to be enforcing the law, not being aware of this kind of lawsuit, and then not even upholding it in general?
Like you said, Nigeria has turned to a zoo. The people who are supposed to enforce laws, they are called law enforcement agencies, and they blatantly disregard a court ruling. It is unacceptable, and it shows how much our judicial system has lost its significance. We saw in the Natasha Akpoti case where the legislature too started interpreting laws. Since when did the legislature start interpreting laws? Now even the executive also want to interpret laws as well.
True.
And they feel like they are above the law. So it's the amount of lawlessness in the land. The law is only applied to a common man. And even the law that is supposed to be in favor of the common man, they disregard it. So it is are we living in a repressive regime? Really? Because now we've seen the trend of lack of freedom of expression. Someone said something, someone called, so to speak, someone called the president a criminal, and the person is being harassed by the DSS. I mean, I thought there was freedom of speech. We're in a democratic regime. Let us act like it, right? Let us act like it. And it's a lot of things that are going on in this nation, and I'm wondering, like I said, the trajectory doesn't look good. 65 years of independence, and we haven't gotten our security rights. We haven't gotten obedience to the law, right? Everything is not what is really going on. I was coming to work on Wednesday, on Independence Day, and someone said something. Someone said that today we are celebrating a 65-year-old Agbaya. And I really couldn't agree more, because that is basically what we're celebrating. I don't know where Nigeria has
He's basically saying old age without sense. it's crazy, honestly. And the same the point I would like to highlight is, are we having misplaced priorities? This is a country where we're having excess hunger, excess unemployment, inflation. Is it tinted glasses that's our problem? Is tinted glasses going to feed the nation? This is a country whereby people cannot even go to farm, having high level of insecurity. Even the security operatives are running for their lives. This is is it tinted glass that's our problem? To the extent that even the police that are supposed to this is what the law said, we are going to enforce what the law said. They are even disregarding the law. Then what do you expect me to come and obey the law when even the police are disregarding the law? So this country at this point, like I said earlier, we have to sit down and think, is it zoo or country? Are we living in a zoo? Honestly, are we living in a zoo or what? Because the amount of lawlessness is very, 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 very alarming.
You know, the NBA also mentioned that this particular act is going to be generating about 3 billion naira monthly. 3 billion.
So they focus more on the revenue than the welfare of the citizens. Police is no longer a protecting agency, it's now a general revenue agency. And not only that, it's also noteworthy to mention that these funds are not going to the nation's treasury single account. It's being diverted to an account of Parkway Project, a private account. So it begs the question, this same country where we did mention earlier that police officers' phones were seized, probably didn't have enough weapons, or we don't have enough manpower to be diverted to be in that particular situation, is just so annoying and so almost crazy at this point. We do hope that the NBA and the police will go to court and this will be settled amicably, and this particular is going to be, because in Delta State I did mention about 25 vehicles were impounded already within just a day or two. So you can imagine how many more.
That's what they are zealous about.
Were they
but
eager?
To catch criminals now.
They cannot.
Exactly. 16,000 naira a year is not a joke, because we have to be renewing this. Then moving on to our next story, we're still on the police case again now. We just mentioned about the tinted, now we're talking about bandits kidnapping 2 councillors and also stealing police. Not, yeah, we could call it stealing.
No, seize.
Well,
Seize.
we could call it seizing because these policemen were armed.
SS3
They were armed and then they were disarmed.
That's all we're saying here.
They were armed and then they were disarmed and then their phones were taken. These 2 stories are from 2 different states. One happened in Zamfara, and I believe the other one happened in another state. I'll get to the details soon. But these bandits kidnapped these councillors. Apparently from this story is that they were going for some individuals. Unfortunately, they couldn't get to them. And then they found these councillors having, just a good day, having an evening tea, and they carted away with them and some other people, although they released like 3 other people and then took away the councillors. Kebi, what do you think about it?
Like I said, like I always say, if we do not tackle the issue of insecurity, not only councillors, only God knows who they are coming for next.
The issue said will tackle us.
It's already tackling us. At this point, it's not only councillors, even councillors, elder of senior officials I would not like to mention titles, but even councillors, senior officials, it will meet all of us as long as we don't tackle this. You see, and the Nigerian police, that, like I said, themselves, they are running for their life. These are people that are supposed to protect us, but themselves, they are seizing their food. Thank God they didn't even flog them at this point, because the bandits might even decide to flog them. Maybe they even did, we don't know. But honestly, at this point, the level of insecurity, councillor, 2 councillors and an imam.
Exactly. Are they actually targeting high-profile individuals that
That's
they know
why
that
I
money
said.
is
That's
going to
why I
come
said.
from? Why
If they
not
don't tackle it, too, not even councillors, senior citizens. You know what I'm talking about. It might touch everybody.
No, even this whole case, when I saw the whole issue, I was laughing. The police were there. They saw the police, and all they could take from them is their phones, because they value their phones more than the police life. No, really, it was a form of joke to me, because these police, they were overpowered, right? And their arms were taken away from them, and they took their phones. They didn't take them. So that means an average police life is not worth so much in a bandit's hand.
Maybe the bandits are thinking, if I carry this one, I will be the one to be feeding him. So this is another expense.
I know, because we see the stories of police begging money on the streets, and the average police are like, man, no go carry liability.
So that's what the bandits are thinking.
I know, it's
But
laughable. It's funny, but not funny at the same time.
You know, and let me just briefly link it, to the previous story of tinted glass. If the whole aim of the whole tinted glass operation is to ensure individuals who have these vehicles are being registered into the system. Remember, these police officers, the heads, the top police officers, also drive around with tinted vehicles. Can they assure us that they also have this permit? Remember also, a police officer's vehicle was stolen from their headquarters here in Abuja.
And then they find out.
Exactly. This same, exactly. So is it that is the car not tinted? If it is tinted, did they not stop that vehicle and confirm if the owner has a permit?
So at this point, somebody that cannot even the police that cannot protect their own property, how do you expect them to protect the properties of Nigerians?
Honestly, it's very disheartening. It's disheartening selecting individuals, and the bandits self are not using vehicles.
Do bandits use cars? Maybe they use tinted bikes. Maybe tinted bikes.
So we don't really know at this point. Although the head of police there said that they've deployed some of their officers to go to start a rescue mission. But this could have been avoided, and it shouldn't have even occurred, because the details of the story is very, very, like I mentioned, it's disheartening that they were going to Kaura village to pick a certain individual, and they couldn't get him, and then it's like shopping. Oh, I couldn't get this. And they like, got this person, and I'm going to cut away with him. Exactly.
Substitution.
And that's still on the police issue. Troops nabbed 2 fake policemen in Taraba loaded with cannabis, and not just cannabis, about 1,134 blocks of cannabis in 2 Hilux vehicles in Taraba State. Upon apprehending them with intel, they found out that these officers were not actually serving. They were ex-policemen, and one, I believe, was about 70 years old, and the other about 40. Like, that's why I mentioned the reference of kids playing police and thief, and then adults are also playing police and thief. It's really disheartening that 1,000 blocks of cannabis, they went from protecting the society to being the dealers of what is going to harm the society. Kabiru.
And I saw Nigerian police arrested Pablo Escobar. Oh, sorry, ex-police. It's funny because you don't reach this level.
This point.
But like I always say, when you see something like this, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. What will even push them to do something like that? Is it that there's no proper pension, there's no proper welfare? Because one, I saw he's an ex-ASP. And it's disheartening, very unprofessional, very disgraceful to see an ex-police officer engaging in this act. Not one single, a whole Hilux was filled up with this poison, because I'll call this poison. What did they intend to do? Where did they get these cars? Where did they get these uniforms from? All these are things we should check. He's an ex-police officer, then why is he still having, okay, what of the other person? Is he an ex-police officer too? How did they have access to a high profile? It's a Hilux. A Hilux is not a bike. Even a bike does not sell for less than $1 million. Who is sponsoring this? A Hilux sells for over 20 million. Exactly. So where did they get access to? Is this let's even look at it. It might even be the vehicle that was stolen from the Nigerian police headquarters.
All the way in Taraba.
So what's happening in our nation, whereby even our security, I'll give them that. I will give the police kudos for arresting these people. But at this point, I might even say maybe, you know how it's, maybe they did not settle one person. That's why it busts. But
Well, you know, let me just bring you back. You did mention that why are they going into this particular business? Because if they were former police officers, is that to say that even when they were police officers, they were doing this
business,
or was it that they were not being catered for? They didn't have enough pension to care for them? Because if I have the knowledge of something, and I'm being pushed to do it, I'm desperate, I don't have any other way out, I am going to apply that knowledge.
Honestly.
The knowledge of these officers who were trained by the Nigerian Police Force, they served the Nigerian Police, they protect society, and then being discarded after service. The next line of action, I'm not saying it is right, I'm not saying it is morally right to go into crime. I'm not approving or endorsing crime in any way. No, what I'm saying here is that when you create something, when you have a baby, you take care of that baby until it's grown. When it's grown, it does not mean you discard that baby. No, you still maintain a relationship with that baby. And but the second you discard it, whatever that baby decides to do, it might end up attacking or harming you at your own doorstep. Barry, would you have anything to add on this?
I don't know about the baby because I saw a 77-year-old and a over 40-year-old. So I don't really know about that baby. But we're talking about the fact that the average Nigerian is corrupt. And I heard that, and I read that what the ASP in question was suspended from service. So it could have been because of his misconduct or anything. So we are talking about a system of corruption that's eating our institutions from within. It's a slow poison that has eaten Nigeria up, yes, eating it from its root. And the average Nigerian is corrupt. I mean, I say this thing, corruption will not move if the average citizen isn't corrupt. Imagine I tell you to steal this amount of money, right? My boss is stealing money. He will need to have collaborated with several others for him to have effectively stolen that money. Because the auditor that will have seen it, this person will have seen it, a lot of people will have seen it. So he would have needed to have paid off several other people to have effectively stolen that money. Those other people, aren't they corrupt? There was an African leader, that said something that corruption is not bad. It is only bad if I am not involved in it. And that is the story of an average Nigerian. Corruption is only bad when you are not involved in it. But if you are put in the position to be in charge of these monies, will you uphold the law? Will you uphold high moral values? Or will you succumb to corruption?
Exactly. And you see what I would like to say is, like I said, let's take a step back and look deeper into the conversation. Whose car are that? Where are the drugs coming from? Where are those drugs going? If they know who registered the plate number on the car, are there plate number? Because this is a country whereby road safety do not allow you work without plate numbers. Then how will they travel such distance if there is no plate number? And we've seen police cars where their plate number is even imprinted there, NPF. Where are those cars coming from? Because these are questions that needs to be asked. Who is involved? Everybody involved. Where is that job going to? Who even, where? There's a lot of questions we need to ask. Honestly,
it's really frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
Well, we do hope we see justice to this. The Nigerian Police Force should have a proper focus. We are not saying we know the right thing to do, but then with the stories we just discussed today, starting from the tinted glass, the police officers' phones being taken, and then this fake Taraba state policeman, you should see that your resources should actually be going to certain places where there should be accuracy. And also, at the same time, we should look at how much more resources could be taken for all this verification, body cams, easy database that can verify plate numbers and whatnot. Not that you're having an ex-policeman driving around with 2 Hilux, like Kabiru mentioned. Hilux costs nothing less than 20 million naira. So you can imagine 2 Hilux, that's about 40 million naira, and then 1,000 blocks of cannabis. Have ex-policemen now turned, instead of being private investigators or being private security personnel, they have now become drug dealers.
1,000 blocks of cannabis is enough.
Yeah, and speaking on that,
to build you a house, a self-contained.
Yeah.
1,000 bricks is crazy.
We're talking about the police uniform this morning, and we noticed that most of them don't wear their name tags.
Despite
They
having
don't
the
wear their name
slots.
tags, and some would even hold weaponry without even being on uniform. Do you understand? This thing makes it easy for these forms of impersonation, because even them aren't doing it. So how would you even know a real policeman from a fake one? How do you differentiate
And like
between them?
like you said, bandits also carry gun without uniforms.
Exactly.
So are you a
Yes.
bandit or
Sometimes
are you
with
officer?
uniform, remember.
Without
Yeah.
name tag. So
Some
what's your
even wear-
difference? Are
do
you
you
a
understand?
bandit or are you an officer? Wear your name tag. Let's know who you are. Not that you come and stop me with mufti with gun. You are an armed robber, oh, honestly, because that's not you are not supposed to be carrying guns without uniforms. If you are carrying gun, wear your uniform. I know who you are. If in case of something, I'll say okay, it's officer I. But you not come and tell me, come down, show me your without name tag. Chairman, you be armed robber. Oh. You be armed robber, honestly.
Well, we do hope the Nigerian Police Force does better. And for our final story, we are going international, where a billionaire is making another company lose billions. Elon Musk made a Twitter post, presently known as X, talking about the cancellation of Netflix. This is coming after a certain, he retweeted or he reposted or he quotes someone's post saying that he's going to cancel Netflix because there was a particular movie or something, or cartoon, a show that mocked, or what was a user that was mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. Although there's a lot of controversy surrounding this story, talking about how, we already know that Trump is, sorry, not Trump, Elon Musk, yeah, he's a friend of Trump. Elon Musk is a Republican. So, and the whole point of canceling Netflix is that they promote a lot of LGBTQ content. Even though the story has gone, it's international, it's not just affecting them because, Hollywood is like the top when it comes to the media, when it comes to entertainment, that everybody, consumes their content. He says that they are creeping into your own homes, little by little. What your children watch, if it was just movies where we have, 18 rated movies and whatnot, it would have been understood. But then even in cartoons, we're seeing this in cartoons, where if a female and a female are kissing, a male and a male are professing their sexuality, a little boy in a cartoon form talking about, and you don't really sit down, you don't always sit down to watch cartoon. When you see a cartoon, you say, oh, it's a cartoon, I can leave my kid unattended to watch this. It was a Netflix situation, but then these are the little ideologies that seep into their head, what they don't see as a norm. And it also brings up the question, there's a point where, for example, in a street now in Nigeria now, when you just hear that this also person is gay, you can see the way people frown. You can see the way people, like, they see it as a taboo. But little by little, these things become norm. Because if your kids grow up watching, the kids grow up watching this on the telly, saying, okay, this is normal. When they grow up, they will not see this as something that's strange to their culture. They will say, oh, we've seen it on the TV, it's normal, it's normal. This thing comes little by little. Kabir, what do you think about this?
I'd love to ask Barry a question. A very simple question.
Okay.
When a 16-year-old commits a crime, what do they say?
He's underage. He's a
underage.
juvenile.
Okay. When an 18-year-old commits a crime, what would they say? He would go to jail. Then how do you think, in your rightful sense, somebody below 18 is entitled to watch this thing and you tell him to choose whether you give him a choice at that moment? But you did not jail somebody like that. But now you feel like, okay, he's okay to choose. So where's the logic there? These people are small children. Let me use our own African society. In our own African society, we do not accept that. Because now, if you come to a place whereby there are 2-3 people, the moment you say somebody is gay, the first thing you'd see is the shock on people's face, how they turn and look at you like, Chairman, what thing they do you? That's the kind of thing you. But maybe them there. But this is to show you how our as society are still okay for some people. And for you to see such amount of lust, that means a lot of people agree with what Elon is saying. For them to lose sight, because if people do not agree, Netflix will not lose that, but for them to lose over $20 billion, that's to show you that people disagree with what Netflix are doing. It's not okay. In our own society, it's not okay. But I don't know what you see in our own society, honestly.
Yes. So it's like some conservatives will say it's a subtle indoctrination. That's basically what is going on TV. I mean, in the US, in other climes, there was this whole legalization of gay rights and everything, so they can actually move on freely. They are free to marry, they are free to do this, they are free to do that. And you know, everything becomes politicized. So in an organization, just the same way you have at least one black person, now they've inculcated it into their movies, right, to form a form of, you know, acceptance for these people, to be like a bit tolerant towards these people. I mean, this is basically what they have been after. But we live in Nigeria and we do not endorse scale laws. I mean, there is a punishment if you are being caught in the act in Nigeria. And like I said, it's subtle indoctrination. A small child gets to see that it's okay for a man and woman, a man and man to be married, a woman and woman to be married, and be doing all sorts of, even down to, you see a lot of dirty jokes. This is cartoon form, and but you see a lot of dirty activities going on there. And are you, why are you trying to spoil our children? Why? Before we saw not just Netflix, we saw a certain book where certain things were going on, and it's a children's book. Now Netflix is also accused of this. I mean, children should be allowed to be children.
We've seen
their minds are still small. They are still
small.
tender. They can be conditioned. They can be rewired in any form. And TV, mass media is a great tool. I mean, they use it for learning. They use it for entertainment. It's a great tool to precondition the child's mind to a certain ideology. A child that doesn't know anything, okay, it's fine for a man and a man to kiss. It's fine for a woman and a woman to kiss. You have already told that child that. And then before you know it, you say it's okay for a person who was not born with a certain gender part to be moved to transition into another gender, and you say that it's okay in movies, and the person engages in this, and the person grows up and they regret their actions. We've seen several incidences when these people have come out in the future and said that they wish they hadn't done that because they did that without full knowledge of what they were doing. I mean, if you're not allowed to drink alcohol at that age, if you're not allowed to vote at that age, if you're not allowed to drive at that age or do certain things at that age, then you shouldn't be allowed to transition at that age, and you shouldn't be allowed to watch such kind of content at that age.
And they keep lying to them. They tell them you are just a guy trapped in a woman's body. So where's the logic?
I mean, no need to be homophobic, but we are in Nigeria. Under Nigerian laws, it is
not.
not.
Yeah, you know, like Brother Jonathan
permissible.
did sign that into law. It's against our cultural norms. He did sign that law that says that LGBTQ is not permissible here in Nigeria. And also, let me just round it up with this, talking about, you know, in social science, there's something we call the bullet theory, whereby whatever we consume in the media, we tend to reciprocate it in our life, because the media, the people are like active and passive users of the media. I could give you an example. Whatever is trending on social media, you do find it in people's vocabulary. You know, there was, you know, the era of Mado, or, you know, the era of Cray Cray, or you see now, like, young ladies, when they're watching, you know, shows like Love Island, when they go with the whole
Clock it.
exactly, you know, clock it. So it's really, this just shows you, this is an adult. You cannot imagine how easy it is to mold or shape opinion when it comes to a child. These are adults that are full thinking members, that are independent thinkers of their own selves, reciprocating what they see on the media. So you can now imagine what it will now be for children who are like wet clay. However you mold them is how they grow up to be. So yes, Elon Musk is definitely right about this. And he did cancel them. And Netflix actually lost a lot of money. They lost billions because their stocks...
billion.
Exactly. And their stocks went down with people canceling them, because I believe there has been also a lot of trends. People complaining about they cannot watch a Netflix series or show without finding an LGBT content being, you know, it's being interjected into whatever it is. And it's very unnecessary, because tell me why, you know, it's a warrior scene or whatnot, and then the warrior is having a secret affair with a man. You're having a president or whatnot, and then he's having a secret affair with a man, a female leader who's having a secret affair with a woman. Very controversial. They're making it a norm.
Like my mother said when we discussed things like this, she said when the world started, there was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So we should not bring such
Adam and Steve is really crazy. But then, yeah, you know, that's all our story on the international world. I remain Abbas Mohammed here on The Morning Break.
And I'm Mohammed Kabir.
And I'm Barry to the world. Keep it tuned on The Morning Break.